Hello, and welcome to the First Stitch podcast, where we tell the stories of how everyday quilters just like you got started quilting, plus talk about some other fun quilty things along the way. This is your host, Lisa Donnelly from Wild Plum Lane. Let's get started. Welcome back to the First Stitch. I'm so glad you're here. In today's episode, we meet Marissa, a 31-year-old quilter who went from being talked out of creativity to making quilts for the people she loves most. Her story stopped me in my tracks when I read it, and I know it'll inspire so many of you. We've also got a WIP-Finishing tip about sewing in small bites of time. This one is especially for all you busy quilters out there, plus a fabric recommendation that I think both newer quilters and seasoned quilters alike will love. Let's jump into Marissa's story. She wrote, "I'm 31 and finished my first quilt last year. I always wanted to be creative, but was continually put down by others, and then of course by myself. So I stopped doing anything like that and just stayed in my academic lane. When the pandemic happened, I bought a sewing machine and it opened up my entire life and brought me a sense of joy and purpose. I kept saying one day I'll make a quilt, but felt like I couldn't do it. Well, I had my son and stopped putting things off for one day and just started saying I could. So I made my son, mother, and aunt each a quilt and haven't stopped since. I sew when I can because he's a very busy 2-year-old now. I'm just so grateful for quilting and the joy it has brought me and the creativity I didn't know I could have." Marissa, thank you for sharing. What I love most about Marissa's story is her courage and tenacity. She tried new things that inspired her, despite being discouraged by others. And becoming a mom didn't stop her from quilting. It actually lit a fire under her. And now she can't stop. She's sewing when she can around a very busy 2-year-old. That is real-life quilting, and we admire it. Today's WIP-Finishing tip ties in so perfectly with Marissa's story, because she said something that so many of us can relate to. I sew when I can. So let's talk about what to do with those little pockets of time, because they're more powerful than you think. One of the biggest reasons works in progress stall out is that we wait for a big chunk of time to sit down and sew. We think, I'll work on that quilt when I have a free afternoon. And then the free afternoon never comes. I know that probably sounds familiar to you. So here's the tip. Break your WIP down into the tiniest possible next steps, and then do just one of those steps whenever you have 10 to 15 minutes. I'm talking about small steps like pressing your already sewn blocks. That's it. Just pressing. Cutting out the next round of fabric pieces while dinner's in the oven. Chain piecing a few seams during nap time, or laying out your blocks on the floor or design wall to figure out your arrangement, so the next time you sit down, you're ready to sew and not still deciding. The key is knowing your next step before you sit down. If you have to figure out where you left off every single time, that eats up your precious sewing minutes fast. So at the end of every sewing session, take 30 seconds to jot down one note about what comes next. Even a sticky note on your project bag works great for this. Small bites will get you to a finished quilt. It just might take a little longer, and that's completely okay. Keep going, my friends. All right, now let's talk fabric. Today's recommendation is one that I think Marissa and any quilter who's sewing in shorter bursts of time will appreciate. I want to talk about pre-cut fabric bundles, specifically charm packs and fat quarter bundles. So here's the thing. One of the biggest places quilters lose time and momentum is in the fabric selection process. You pull out your stash, you audition fabric, you second-guess yourself, you put it all away, and suddenly your 20-minute sewing window is gone before you've sewn a single seam. Pre-cuts can solve that problem in the best way. A charm pack, for example, is a bundle of pre-cut 5-inch squares, all from the same fabric collection, already coordinated and ready to go. A fat quarter bundle gives you a gorgeous set of coordinating cuts, often enough to make a large quilt with some background fabric added in. They work together beautifully without any of the, does this go with that kind of stress. And so many patterns are made with fat quarters or other pre-cuts in mind that you'll have a range of options to work with. For newer quilters especially, pre-cuts can be a game changer. You can spend your time actually sewing and making progress and building your confidence instead of stressing over color combinations. And for busy quilters who are sewing in small bites, knowing your fabrics are already chosen and ready means you can sit down and start cutting or sewing right away. I love finding just the right fat quarter bundle at my local quilt shop, and one of my other favorite places to find beautiful pre-cuts online is Fat Quarter Shop. They carry an amazing selection of bundles across every style and color palette you could imagine, and even have a place where you can sign up to be notified when an upcoming fabric line you've had your eye on is in stock. I'll have a link in the show notes so you can start browsing. If you're working on a WIP right now and fabric selection has been holding you back, give yourself permission to grab a coordinated pre-cut bundle and just go. You'll be amazed at how much faster things move when the decision-making is already done for you. So thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I hope Marissa's story reminded you that creativity is always yours for the taking and that your quilting journey is worth every stolen moment of sewing time you can find. If Marissa's story resonated with you, I'd love to hear yours. Whether it's how you got started quilting, a favorite project you just finished, or even a WIP that's been sitting in a bin waiting for you. Every quilter has a story, and yours deserves to be shared. You can email your story to firststitchpodcast@wildplumlane.com Or if you prefer a quick and easy form, there's a link in the show notes. I'd love to feature you in a future episode. Until next time, keep sewing when you can, one small bite at a time. I'll see you next week.